Hello there, Ian here, and great to be with you, and I really hope that this message finds you in good spirits. And I'm coming to you from a hotel room, slightly unusual surroundings, but I'm helping to facilitate a leadership program here, which is a lot of fun. So hence I'm coming to you from here. The idea that I'd like to share with you is really one that I think is crucial, particularly in today's environment when differentiation and competitive advantage is much harder to find these days, or is getting harder to find as more and more and more competition is emerging into the market. And the idea is this, that if you're leading a team or leading a company, one of the highest and best uses of your time is the creation of an environment and culture that allows the team to do their best work. One of the companies that we visited recently does something that is actually very unspectacular. And several people do exactly the same thing. The actual thing that they supply is no different in actual fact than anybody else. But the way they deliver it, the culture that they have in the office, and their focus on the key problem that they are solving makes them one of the industry leaders. So in creating the right culture for your team to do their best work, one of the key tools is, of course, your company values. Now, you've heard me, if you've ever heard one of these sharings before, or you've heard me give a talk in public, you'll know that values are very high on my list of responsibilities for leaders. But I'd like to give you a particular example of that, because sometimes with our values we're between a rock and a hard place. We can do this that's in line with our values, or we can do this that's also in line with our values. Which one do we choose? And there are many circumstances where we may be in that situation. Let me give you an example. One of my favorite films is Invictus, which depicts that era of the Nelson Mandela era in South Africa after he'd recently been elected president, when South Africa won the Rugby World Cup. Now, the story is a little bit of Hollywood, there's a bit of drama in there, but the key points are factually correct. And you can look at the history of Nelson Mandela yourself to verify what I'm saying. But there's one key point in the history, and is depicted in the film, where he's asked about his family. And he was estranged from his wife and his daughters for the following reason. When he came into power, he didn't seek revenge on the white minority that had kept the black community largely suppressed. What he said was, we need to have their support, we need to collaborate them, we need to forgive them, because we're going to need their help if we want to go forward and create a single equal nation. Now, this didn't sit too well with some of the black people that indeed voted for him as president. And there's one key point in the movie when he's asked about his family, and he said, my family isn't just 4 or 5 people. My family is 40 million. And the message is this. You have, or I recommend, you have a clear set of company values, but also personal values. The rules by which you live and the rules by which you create the best possible environment for your team to do their best work. But in doing that, sometimes we're between a rock and a hard place. With Nelson Mandela, it was his family and the country. So when you are clear on your values, we also need to be clear on the relative importance of those values. And in Mandela's case, of course, his family was important to him, but his country was even more important. So when we are between a rock and a hard place, we have to do something that is in line with one important value but compromises another important value. We have to know the rank order of our values to make sure we make a decision that we're comfortable with. So, one of the highest and best uses of your time as a leader is to create the optimal work environment for your team to do the best work. You need, I recommend, an agreed set of company values, an agreed set of rules of the game. But those values need to be ordered so that when you're between a rock and a hard place and you have to choose very difficult decisions sometimes, you know the order of the values, so you know what decision to take. In Mandela's case, the country ranked above his own family. Both very important, but he had to make the choice. So let me finish with why one of the best uses of your time is creating the right environment for your team to perform. In many, many cases, because competition is so fierce these days, there is more supply than demand in just about every field. The culture of the organization is one of the key competitive advantages that is in your favor. If you can create the right environment for your team to do their very best possible work, that is an amazing competitive advantage, even though you may supply something that somebody else does. You still are able to have an advantage because people enjoy working at your company more than somebody else. Let me give you a quick example of this and then I'll close. We visited a firm that gives loans, microcredit. Now, to some extent, a loan is a loan is a loan. But these guys actually looked a bit deeper and they looked at the problem they were really solving. And the problem they were really solving was an education problem. The loan was able to be given by any number of people, but the education that went along with that and the culture of caring and responsibility and stewardship that this company had made them a clear leader in their space. So the end product that you sell might look very similar to somebody else, but the way you deliver it, the way the staff work, the way they care for their customers and care for each other make for a much more effective working environment and a clear competitive advantage. So, I hope that did make sense. Your culture is a key advantage in today's oversupplied world. How do you create it? A strong sense of company and personal value is a great place to look. But make sure that those values are ranked in order so that when you are in that difficult situation, you know which value trumps which one, which is the most important, and that will help you make the right call. I really hope that did make sense. If you have any comments, I'd love to know. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. And as usual, I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye for now.